Ahoy, and welcome aboard the Afro Tales podcast. I am your Griot, Aman Mazingo, here to guide you through captivating tales rooted in the histories of Indigenous and African descendant peoples across the Americas and the Caribbean. But the journey does not end there. I, Chef, will share a delicious recipe inspired by the stories you have just heard. So, with no further ado, let us set sail on this new age of exploration. Plat-Eye Interviews, South Carolina, Murrells Inlet, and Georgetown County. Plat-Eye. They say Plat-Eye take the shape of all kind of critter. Dog, cat, hog, mule, vomit. And I hear tell of a Plat-Eye taking the shape of a gator. Addie, Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. Plat-Eye turned to dog, turned to horse, turned back to people, turned into a little bird. The old head tell me if you try to run from them, they trip you up, throw you down. See them better on a old moon than a new moon. Plat-Eye stay around graveyard and they cross the road, especially a road where they have carry a dead body cross. When Plat-Eye show himself to you, you see him. Matthew Grant, George County, South Carolina. A Plat-Eye came out of the woods. I'm Mayetha Pickett of your Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. Us was going home from church. Came first a little white cat. Came out of the woods. Came out in the road. Us ran. And then us looked back and there was a little white dog. And us ran again. And when us looked back next, there was a white hog. And us ran again. Then us looked back and there was a white mule. And the next it was a red horse, came out of the woods, came in the road. When us got to Grandpa's house, he said that was a Plat-Eye. Mayetha Pickett, Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. Addie's Plat-Eye. I go by the name of Addie. Let me tell you, by the time I was clamming, the tide came very late in the evening. It was dusky dark when I hit the parsonage lane. Like dusky dark, I wasn't feared none at all. I passed the captain's barn and stable. There he was a-milking, and I said, "Good evening, Captain Bill." And he said, "Good evening." I passed the graveyard entrance and kept walking. Then, leaving the open air, I entered the dark woods. I brushed weeping moss aside as I traveled in wet mud in my bare feet. My shoes were tied to my girdle string. Then I got close to the footlog of an old cypress tree. He blew down in the big September gale. And I saw Mr. Bullfrog in the water. Kaplunk. And a cooter came sliding off the log at my feet. I looked at the cooter, and there was a cat, a big black cat, with eyes like balls of fire, and his back all arched up, and his tail twisting and switching, and his hair standing on end. He moved backward and crossed the cypress log. He was big as my little yearling ox. And I talked to him, and I tried to draw close, and I told him, I ain't feared of nothing. Ain't no ghost, no hate, no Plat-Eye. I ain't fit or nothing. And I tried to sing, he carries me through many a danger because he first loved me. He guards me against pain or Plat-Eye because he first loved me. That Plat-Eye ain't give me back a word. He moved forward and his tail swished and swished, sang like a big moccasin tail, lashing the rushes. And I braced up. My short-handled little clam rake was in my hand, and I sang, God will take care of me, walking through my dangers. God will take care of me. I raised my clam rake and I came right across that critter's head. My rake was buried deep in the log, and I declared to God, he up and pranced right under my feet, them eyes burning holes in me, and that tail a swishing like old Spook's tail when the flies are bad. If that had been a real cat, I'd have pinned him to that log. I struggled with my rake, and the log loosened his grip, and I prayed, give Addie strength, oh Lord. I raised my rake, and down I came, straight through that critter's middle. His stomach balled up like the little puff of toadfish. But that critter ain't feel my leg, and I wrestled like Jacob wrestled with the angel. I was strong and had my bloom on me. Mr. Plat-Eye was just as frisky as before he was hit, and I abused him and cursed him, and I said, you devil, clear my path. The critter pawed the air and rose up that big bamboo vine, and I turned back. I hit the path, and I didn't tell. Just as I gave God praise for delivering me, though, Lord, there was that cat. This time he was as big as my middle-sized ox, and his eyes were blazing. I lammed him, and I lammed him, and that rake handle was wire and that had a nail on it. And just as I made my last lamb, the critter rose up before my eyes, and he was as big as my cousin Andrew's full-grown eyes. Then he vanished up that old pine box. Nowadays, when I travel the deep woods, and the moss is low, and Mr. Cooter and Mr. Moccasin crawl, I tow gunpowder and sulfur, and I carry my stick in my hand, and I watch my step. Daddy and the Plat-Eyed Ghost. Hattie, Maisel, Bunny, Sin Sin, and the rest of the kids standing over in the pine tree hollered at me to come over. I knew they were going to work me over about ghosts. A Plat-Eye Ghost gonna get you, Raisin, said Sin Sin. Plat-Eye Ghost gonna come in your room, hop on your back, and ride you all night long, just like you was an old mule. You be thinking you're having the horriblest dream, but it'll be that old Plat-Eye riding you. I ain't scared of no Plat-Eye, I said. I crossed my toes inside my shoes, just in case. And I bet you never even seen one, neither. Ursula hollered that her daddy had, and it had big red eyes. Daddy saw it on Cypress Swamp Road just about night when he was a little boy. He said he and some other guys were walking back from fishing in the creek. That part that's up around Cypress Swamp Cove, where those condos are now, him and his Uncle towing them. He had left his knife back at the creek where they'd been fishing. He decided to go back and get it. The others went off. He had a bucket full of spots too. But Daddy say he went back through the swamp grass along the edge of the creek and found his knife. It was moonlight out, see, so he didn't have no trouble. On the way back, he kept thinking something was following him. But when he would look around, he wouldn't see a thing. Just as he got onto the bridge over the creek, he felt his back start to get real hot right under his shoulder blades. He said it was like 2 pins were being burned into his back. He said when he jumped to one side, he looked back, saw 2 round eyes, red as blood, and with steam rising from them hanging out in the air, not 2 feet behind him. He started walking backward from those eyes, trying not to look into them, because a Plat-Eye can suck your breath out if it can catch your eyes and hypnotize you. Still holding on to his knife in one hand and the bucket in the other, he hit across the bridge and didn't stop till he caught up with towing him. But you know what? All the fish in his bucket was gone. Daddy said the Plat-Eye got him. Unknown woman, Plantersville, South Carolina. Confrontations with a Plat-Eyed Ghost are to be avoided at all costs in the marshes and swamps of South Carolina low country, particularly around Pawleys Island, Sandy Island, Georgetown, Plantersville, Charleston, and the Sea Islands. Some say that a Plat-Eyed Ghost can take the form of a small animal, a vapory cloud, or an apparition with big, red, burning coals for eyes. In Du Bois Hayward's short story, The Half-Pint Flask, an unscrupulous man and a Plat-Eye have an encounter where he steals a flask from a grave. The Plat-Eye takes the form of the man's lover and tries to drown him in the marsh. This concludes the investigation into the Plat-Eyed Ghost for now.
Wow. So these were some great stories coming from 2 particular books. The first section coming from the Slave Ghost Stories, Tales of Hags, Haints, Ghosts, and Diamondback Rattlers, compiled and edited by Nancy Ryan. The Daddy and the Plat-Eyed Ghost comes from Talk That Talk, an anthology of African American storytelling, edited by Linda Goss and Marion E. Barnes. First things I want to say, I had fun trying to figure out how I wanted to put all of these stories together. In the first book, they are done in an interview way, kind of like how some other writers may do. I think Zora Neale Hurston does it in one of her books. Most of the stories are basically told to her in an interview style. So I think that's how I wanted to do it. I kind of had fun doing that. When it comes to Plat-Eyed Ghost, they are a being, a creature that I want to say comes solely from the Gullah Geechee areas of the South. We're talking from middle of South Carolina, coastal region, all the way down to the bottom of Georgia's coastal region is where you'll find a lot of the Gullah Geechee people. These stories in particular come from the South Carolina area. There's different beliefs as to how they came about and what reason they're here. Most people believe that Plat-Eyes come from the fact that people were buried in unmarked graves and pretty much murdered and buried in those graves, whether it be by slave owners or by just other people in general. But normally they are an individual who was violently killed. These stories, I don't know the backstory for these particular Plat-Eyes. There's nothing in the books that gives you that information. But they are always normally in a darkly wooded area. They are near swamps and inlets. They are near somewhere where, if we took it to slavery, period, they wouldn't want the slaves to be, because maybe it was a way of escaping slavery. You know, you don't want a slave to be around a lot of water sources freely, because, you know, they might have a way to escape your plantation or anything of that nature, especially without supervision. I would think much of like the Nat Turner story, Nat Turner's rebellion, and about how he was able to hide out in those type of inlets and swampy areas. Think about the Maroons of I can't think of the name of the swamp, but there's a swamp, I believe, in either South Carolina or North Carolina, that was home to runaway slaves for many years, and they are just now discovering how and where exactly they were located. So, you know, you spread these stories, spread these ghost stories, and, you know, people are scared to go that way, you know. But it is a wonderful story. It is October, and I'm glad I got to finally share the Plat-Eyed Ghost. Oh, one more thing. In many descriptions, it is a Plat-Eyed Ghost because there is one giant red eye centered in the middle of the face, almost like a cyclops, but a ghost version, you know. So, you know, there's that. Do more research. Go out and check this thing out. Check out the Plat-Eyed Ghost. Do not go into the woods looking for one. You don't want to end up becoming a Plat-Eye. All right. Anyway, thanks for coming on this journey with me. And until next time, go see Chef. He has a wonderful recipe. And as always, have a blessed day. Welcome, my friends, to the Galley. I am your chef, and today we have a wonderful recipe inspired by the story you have just heard. Today, we'll be creating Fuskie fried crab rice. Now, what would you need for this lovely, interesting recipe? 1.5 cups uncooked rice, 2.25 cups warm water, a pinch of salt, 2 strips of bacon, 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, 1 stalk celery chopped, 1 medium green bell pepper chopped, 1 medium onion chopped, 1.5 to 2 pounds of crab meat, lump or claw, 1 tablespoon garlic powder, and salt and black pepper. Now, how do we put this together? Easy. First, measure the rice. Then rinse and drain it several times. Put the rice, water, and salt in a medium pot. Cover. Bring to a boil and simmer until the rice is done and the water is absorbed. About 20 minutes or more should do. Next, fry the bacon until crispy in a 12-inch skillet. When the bacon is done, remove it from the pan, set aside, and crumble when cool. Add the oil to the bacon fat in the skillet and heat. Add the celery, bell pepper, and onion. Stir fry until the onion is clear. Then add the crab and cook until the crab begins to brown. Another 5 to 10 minutes should do. Now, add the crumbled bacon, cooked rice, and garlic powder, along with salt and pepper to taste. Next, stir consistently until evenly combined. Cover the mixture and simmer for at least 10 minutes. If you like a meatier mixture, just add more crab or less rice. And that is it, my friends. Now, go make this recipe yours. And until I have another wonderful recipe for you, remember the stories of the Plat-Eyes. And be careful. And until next time, my friends, as always, enjoy.
And that brings an end to another voyage. May these tales inspire, connect, and nourish your soul, just as chef's dish fills your belly. Until next time, keep exploring, learning, and sharing the ancestors' stories. Fair winds and following seas.